You know, when we think about corporate disasters, we usually picture this sudden catastrophic explosion.
Oh, right, like the Hollywood version of a corporate collapse.
Exactly, like a dramatic raid by federal agents, a CEO doing a perp walk in a tailored suit.
Yeah, boxes of documents being loaded into unmarked vans.
Right, right. We think of it as this singular, deafening event. It's loud.
It's binary, and it always seems to happen all at once.
But then, you start looking at the actual mechanics of organizational risk, and you realize that the explosion is just the very end of the story.
The grand finale, really.
Yeah, the reality is usually much quieter. It's a slow smolder.
Right.
It's a slightly altered invoice, or maybe a bypassed approval process.
Yeah.
Just a blind eye turned for like a week or two.
Just long enough to do the damage.
Exactly. And suddenly we are looking at a landscape that isn't loud at all. It's silent. And honestly, it's deeply unsettling because it's happening right next to you.
Yeah. Which is terrifying when you really think about it.
It is. And that quiet, smoldering fire is exactly why we are looking at a very specific document today. It's a product detail page from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, or the ACFE.
A really fascinating group, by the way.
Yeah, they really are. So, okay, let's unpack this. We are taking a deep dive into their Anti-Fraud Fundamentals certificate program.
Right.
And our mission today is to figure out how this specific program is trying to, democratize anti-fraud education for the everyday professional.
Which is a huge shift in how we handle this stuff.
Totally. We want to see if it's the right tool for you to add to your own professional toolkit.
Well, to really grasp what this certificate is doing, you have to look at the ACFE's overarching global mandate.
Okay, set the stage for us.
So, right at the top of their platform, their guiding principle is, together, reducing fraud worldwide.
Together.
Yeah, that word together is the linchpin here.
Yeah.
Because the ACFE is this massive hub. I mean, they publish Fraud Magazine. They release the Occupational Fraud Report to the nations.
Which is a massive document.
It's massive. And they run the Global Certified Fraud Examiner Credential, the CFE.
Right, the gold standard.
Exactly. But this specific fundamental certificate, it acknowledges a very hard truth. Elite investigators alone cannot be everywhere.
They just can't.
No. To actually reduce fraud worldwide, you need the everyday workforce to be part of that together.
Okay, I want to push on that for a second, though.
Sure.
Because if an organization has, say, an internal audit team or a dedicated compliance department,
Right.
why does the everyday workforce need to be involved? I mean, if you're sitting there listening to this thinking, well, I'm a marketing director, I don't look at complex spreadsheets, why do I need this?
It's a fair question.
Right.
Right.
What is the ACFE's argument for targeting that person?
The argument is simply proximity.
Proximity.
Yeah. Think about it. An internal auditor might review a random sample of transactions, maybe once a quarter?
If that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the marketing director, you are the one actually signing off on the vendor contracts every single week.
Oh, wow. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
You are the one who knows that the new printing vendor is suddenly charging 20% more than the old one.
Right.
And you're the one who might know that the vendor's main contact happens to be the cousin of your events coordinator.
The auditor definitely doesn't know that.
Not a chance. The auditor doesn't know those interpersonal dynamics, but you do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So the ACFE recognizes that the first line of defense against corporate destruction isn't an elite auditor flying in from headquarters.
Right, wearing a cape.
Right. It is the educated, everyday employee who works in a high-risk department and actually knows what red flags to look for.
Which explains the most striking detail right out of the gate with this program. There are 0 prerequisites.
Not at all.
Yeah, none. You don't need an accounting degree. You don't need, former law enforcement experience.
That is huge.
It is. And the text explicitly states this is not a replacement for the Certified Fraud Examiner credential.
Right. We need to be clear about that.
Yeah, because the CFE is a rigorous, demanding process. It has strict eligibility requirements and this massive exam.
Which is a crucial distinction to make. The CFE is for career investigators.
Right.
But this fundamental certificate is doing something entirely different.
The way I was thinking about it as I was reading through the source materials, It's like the difference between taking a really robust first aid and CPR class versus going to medical school.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, like going to medical school, becoming a trauma surgeon, that's the CFE credential.
Yes.
But this anti-fraud fundamental certificate, this is the CPR class.
Exactly.
It's designed so that when someone collapses in the grocery store, or, in this case, when a vendor contract looks highly suspicious,
Right.
there is someone in the room who knows exactly what to do in those crucial first minutes before the paramedics arrive.
That analogy holds up perfectly, especially when you look at why people actually seek out this training.
Who is actually taking this?
Well, the ACFE lists out who this is for, and it covers a remarkably broad spectrum. I mean, it's for people whose roles only occasionally deal with fraud.
Okay.
It's for professionals looking to make a career switch. But the demographic that really caught my analytical eye is the group driven by vicarious trauma.
Yes. The product page specifically calls that out.
It's fascinating.
It talks about individuals who have seen how fraud has destroyed companies, seen how employees lost their entire life savings, and who now want to be proactively defensive. I mean, that is such a heavy, relatable motivation.
It really is.
Imagine watching a coworker lose their pension because someone in accounting set up a fake vendor and realizing, oh my gosh, I saw the warning signs but didn't know what they meant at the time.
That kind of guilt would stick with you.
Definitely. We aren't just talking about corporate compliance here. We are talking about protecting human livelihoods.
Yeah, it shifts the narrative entirely. It
Mm.
moves from passive observation to active protection.
Right.
It's empowering the observer to become a sentinel within their own company.
Okay, so if you have this incredibly broad audience, I mean, from the absolute beginner to the career switcher to the traumatized observer,
Right.
how do you actually train them? Like, a single rigid syllabus isn't going to work for an IT professional and an HR manager at the same time.
No, it wouldn't, which is why the curriculum is built on this highly modular structure.
Okay, break that down for us.
So, to earn the certificate, you have to complete 8 out of the 13 available online courses.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like a choose-your-own investigative adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it more like building a custom firewall.
The custom firewall. Okay.
Yeah, because a hospital's IT vulnerabilities are completely different from a construction firm's supply chain vulnerabilities.
Right, completely different beasts.
So the learner gets to choose the specific blocks they need to plug their company's unique holes.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. If you are an IT professional, you might need to know how hackers fake invoices.
Yeah.
But if you're an HR professional, your firewall needs to block ghost employees being added to the payroll.
Yeah.
So that 8 out of 13 structure allows you to really customize the knowledge to your specific environment.
Let's actually look at how you build that firewall because it's separated into 3 tiers.
Right. Let's get into the weeds a bit.
First, you have the foundational tier, where you have to choose one course. You can take Fraud Examination 101, or if you aren't really a numbers person, they have Fundamentals of Financial Investigations for non-financial professionals.
Which is a great entry point.
Yeah. Then you have the elective tier, where you choose 4 courses out of a really diverse list.
Very diverse.
We're talking ethical issues for fraud examiners, fraud prevention, introduction to contract and procurement fraud, financial statement fraud, and even legal issues in fraud examinations.
And that legal one is interesting because
They actually offer both a U.S. edition and an international edition for that one, which really shows the global scale of the ACFE.
Exactly. It's a comprehensive menu that lets you address those specific blind spots we just talked about.
But then we hit the middle tier, the required courses.
Right. The mandatory stuff.
You have to take all 3 of these, no matter what your custom firewall looks like.
No exceptions.
They are Introduction to Asset Misappropriation, Introduction to Bribery and Corruption, and Interviewing Witnesses and Suspects.
Yes.
Now, I want to pause here because I totally understand why bribery and asset misappropriation are mandatory. That's the bread and butter of corporate theft.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, asset misappropriation is basically just the theft of company resources.
Right.
It sounds like a really complex legal term, but for anyone listening who isn't an accountant, it usually just means someone is stealing cash before it gets recorded.
Or submitting fake expense reports.
Exactly. Or just walking out the back door with company equipment. It accounts for the vast majority of all occupational fraud.
Right. So teaching people to spot a fake expense report makes total sense.
Yes.
But my immediate thought on that 3rd required course, Interviewing Witnesses and Suspects, is just why?
You're not alone in thinking that.
Why force a marketing person or a mid-level HR manager to learn suspect interviewing? I mean, if I'm just a casual observer in a high-risk apartment, I am absolutely not bringing my coworkers into a windowless room with a single swinging light bulb to interrogate them.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But you're hitting on the core misconception about what an interview actually is in a corporate setting.
Okay, correct me then. What is it?
If we connect this to the broader mechanics of fraud, we have to remember that fraud is rarely just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
Right, there are people behind the numbers.
Exactly. Fraud is fundamentally about human deception. It is human beings making decisions to circumvent rules and then making further decisions to cover their tracks.
Okay, yeah.
Therefore, the foundational skill in uncovering fraud isn't just math, it's human interaction.
So you're saying the course isn't teaching you how to play bad cop?
Not at all. In a corporate environment, an interview is often just a routine conversation at the coffee machine. Yeah, or a quick clarification call over Microsoft Teams. It's asking a colleague, hey, can you walk me through why this catering vendor was paid twice this month without a purchase order?
Oh, wow.
The skill being taught isn't how to extract a confession under duress. It's how to ask the right open-ended questions.
Okay, walk me through what that actually looks like in practice. Because if I ask someone about a duplicate invoice on a Tuesday morning Zoom call,
Right.
and they just say, oh, it was an administrative error, how does this course change my reaction to that?
Well, it changes your baseline perception entirely. Let's say you ask about that missing purchase order.
Okay.
A normal, non-deceptive response might be frustration or confusion.
Yeah.
They might say, wait, it was paid twice, let me call accounts payable, that's a mess.
Right, they'd want to fix it.
Exactly. But a deceptive response looks different. You might notice they suddenly get highly defensive.
Oh, interesting.
They might deflect blame entirely to a junior staffer without actually addressing the error. Or they might over-explain the relationship with the vendor to justify the payment, offering way more information than you actually asked for.
Like filling the silence because they're nervous?
Precisely. Or they might physically shift, crossing their arms, avoiding eye contact, or maybe their vocal pitch suddenly changes.
So you're essentially learning how to spot the negative space in a conversation.
I love that phrasing.
You're listening for the hesitation, the overcompensation, not just the words themselves.
Exactly. You are learning the anatomy of a lie in a professional setting.
Wow.
By making this course mandatory, the ACFE is fundamentally shifting the learner's entire mindset. You are no longer a passive processor of information who just accepts administrative error as an answer.
You're digging deeper.
You are an active critical thinker who understands the psychology of deception. And once you have that skill, combined with an understanding of how asset misappropriation actually works,
You become dangerous to the bad guys.
you become an incredibly difficult target for a bad actor to bypass, yes.
That reframes the entire certificate for me. It's not just about compliance, it's behavioral psychology applied to the workplace.
Exactly.
But, this leads to a very practical question.
Let's hear it.
If we have this intense psychological toolkit being offered, how does a working parent or a busy professional actually find the time to learn the anatomy of a lie without quitting their day job?
It's a very real concern.
Yeah, like what does it take to cross the finish line here?
Well, the mechanics are designed to be as frictionless as possible for someone who is balancing quarter-end reports and putting kids to bed.
Okay, good.
The program is delivered 100% online, accessible 24/7 through your web browser.
Nice.
You can start a course, stop it, and just pick up right where you left off.
But wait, if it's just a self-paced online module that you can do in your pajamas at midnight,
Yeah.
how rigorous can it actually be? I mean, are employers really going to respect a certificate that doesn't have a proctored in-person exam?
I know what you mean.
Right. I know plenty of corporate training modules that people just play on mute in the background while they're answering emails.
We've all done it. But the ACFE anticipated that exact skepticism, which is why the accountability metrics are built directly into the progression.
Oh, okay. How so?
This isn't just a passive webinar. Each of the 13 lessons has a corresponding exam.
Okay. Exams? Plural.
Yes. To actually earn the certificate and the digital badge, you have to pass at least 8 of those exams with a score of 70% or higher.
Got it.
And you are on a ticking clock.
A clock.
You have exactly 1 year from the date of purchase to complete the program.
Oh, wow. And what happens if you just, guess your way through it and fail?
Well, you get 3 attempts per exam.
Okay, that's generous.
But if you don't pass after 3 attempts, or if you let that 1-year deadline slip by, you don't just get an automatic endless free extension.
Right.
You have to explicitly contact ACFE member services and pay a $125 re-enrollment fee. Yeah, that resets any unpassed exams and gives you another year.
You know what? I actually appreciate that $125 fee.
Do you?
Yeah, because it's not so outrageously expensive that it ruins your month, right? But it's just enough of a financial sting to make sure you prioritize the studying.
That's exactly the point.
It forces you to take the CPR class seriously rather than letting it sit in your bookmarks folder forever.
Right. It introduces stakes. It ensures that the person who eventually earns the badge actually digested the material.
Well, let's look at the upfront price tag then. The program costs $799 for non-members.
Right.
But if you are an ACFE member, it drops to $639.20, which is a savings of nearly $160.
A pretty solid discount.
Definitely. And the product page boldly advertises a 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Yes, that's important.
If you aren't satisfied, you can return it for a full refund, which I imagine removes a significant amount of purchase anxiety for someone paying out of pocket.
It signals profound confidence in their product.
Right.
But to really evaluate the cost, we have to look at the return on investment. What happens when you actually pass?
Okay, what do you get?
You get a printable certificate of completion, obviously, and within 5 to 7 business days, you get a secure digital badge for your LinkedIn profile to signal your new expertise.
Very nice for the resume.
But the real structural value lies in the continuing professional education credits.
Right, the CPEs.
Yes.
The source document notes that depending on which mix of the 8 courses you choose, you earn between 18 and 23 NASB-approved CPE credits.
Exactly.
Now, can you translate that for anyone listening who might not hold a financial license? Like, what on earth is NASB, and why should someone care about CPE credits?
Sure. So NASB is the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy.
Oh.
They essentially set the standard for accounting education in the U.S.
Got it.
As for CPE credits, think of them as mandatory upkeep points.
Upkeep points?
Yeah. If you hold a professional license like a CPA or certain auditing and security credentials, you are legally required to complete a specific number of educational hours every single year just to keep your license active.
Oh, wow. Every year.
Every single year. Finding high-quality courses that award these credits is a constant annual chore for licensed professionals.
Oh, I see. So getting up to 23 of these upkeep points in one single swing is a massive time saver.
It's highly pragmatic. You're fulfilling a huge chunk of your annual regulatory requirements while simultaneously learning how to build that custom anti-fraud firewall for your company.
Right.
It is a total double-duty investment.
And there's one more detail about the ROI that stood out to me. Like, it's arguably the absolute most crucial point in the entire source document.
Oh, I know exactly which one you mean.
Yeah, we talked earlier about how the elite CFE credential requires rigorous ongoing maintenance, right?
Yes, you have to constantly prove you are keeping your skills sharp.
But this anti-fraud fundamentals certificate, it
Right.
never expires. Once you earn it, you have it for life. Zero maintenance required.
Which goes right back to the ACFE respecting the learner's time.
Yeah.
They have engineered a product that hits the sweet spot between high-value education and low, long-term administrative burden.
It's brilliant.
You put in the work, you pass the exams, you get the foundational knowledge, and then the credential is yours permanently.
It's the ultimate buy-it-for-life resume booster.
Truly.
And when you zoom out and look at the whole package, the 23 CPE credits, the permanent digital badge, the psychological training on human deception, I mean, getting all of that for under $800 feels incredibly efficient.
It's efficient, but more importantly, it serves their overarching mission perfectly.
How so?
By removing the barriers to entry, by keeping the price point relatively accessible, and by entirely stripping away the long-term maintenance requirements,
Yeah.
the ACFE is actively incentivizing thousands of everyday employees to become those sentinels we talked about.
Right.
They're making it as easy as possible for the workforce to participate in. Together, reducing fraud worldwide.
Which is exactly what we set out to uncover today.
Indeed.
To quickly recap our deep dive, the ACFE Anti-Fraud Fundamental Certificate is not about turning you into a federal agent.
No.
It's not about grand interrogations under a swinging light bulb.
Thankfully.
Right. It is a highly flexible, permanently valid, and deeply accessible toolkit. It's designed to empower you, the everyday professional, to protect your organization, your coworkers, and yourself from the devastating realities of workplace fraud.
Well said.
You do not need to be a seasoned investigator to make a massive difference. You just need to know what a smoldering fire looks like before it hits the structural beams.
And as we wrap up, I really want to leave you with a thought to mull over as you head back into your own work environment today.
Lay it on us!
We spent a lot of time discussing how this program requires you to learn the fundamentals of interviewing suspects and recognizing deception. We talked about how a normal Teams call can actually be an interview. So if a basic, accessible online program can teach us how to spot the psychological tells of asset misappropriation in a simple conversation,
Yeah.
how many everyday workplace interactions, how many routine Tuesday morning check-ins and quick questions about an invoice are actually subtle fraud stress tests that we are currently failing to recognize simply because we don't yet know the signs?
Oh, wow. That completely changes how you view your next staff meeting.
It really does.
Suddenly you realize you might just be standing in a room full of smoke detectors and you're the only one who hasn't been taught how to hear the beep. Keep your ears open out there. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll catch you next time.